Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Chelsea. So I'm gonna tell you guys some Netflix recommendations if you're chilling at home and you don't know what to watch. These are my top 20 recommendations I suggest you guys should watch. So yeah, let's get into the video. Now the first category is comedy. The first in comedy, so these are like all TV shows, but there's some that's movies. So this TV show is called Heartbreak High, and you guys probably have heard of it because it's been out on Netflix for a while now. Well, it's recently came on Netflix, but yeah. And it's Australian show. So it's about like these teenagers, they draw like a sex map in school, like on the brick wall. When everyone finds it, the two teens, they get in trouble, whatever. But there's a lot of like teen drama and a lot of like heartbreak, obviously Heartbreak High. So I suggest you guys should give that show a chance because it's a really good show and it's so entertaining, like all the relationships and stuff that's happening in the show. 100% go watch it. Now the next TV show is another like teen comedy sort of. It's called Never Have I Ever, and you guys probably should know this show because it's actually been out for a while. There's 3 seasons and it's a really good show. Like I love my teen shows and movies, like high school stuff. Like it's so interesting, and obviously there's a lot of like a drama and teen relationships happening. So it's about like this girl at school and she's not that popular, so it's like every teen movie and shows out there. She's not that popular. She plans to have sex with this popular guy to be popular. That doesn't really happen, but yeah, I'm not gonna say too much because I don't want to like spoil it, but 100% like watch that show if you're into like teen dramas and comedies like I am. 100%. The next one is Alexa and Katie. Now this is like the same concept of like teens and stuff. So it's about like this girl and she has cancer, but she fights it obviously. And yeah, it's just a really good show, and it's a really good like family show as well. It's a comedy, so it has like the laughing in the background sort of. So yeah, it's a really good show. Like there's sad parts, there is funny parts, there's, you know, all those things that you find in a TV show in there. So 100% watch it because that was like the first Netflix show I actually binge watched, and it's so good, like legit so good. So 100% watch that. Okay, now the next show is Sex Education. So Sex Education is sort of like the same as Heartbreak High. Well, Heartbreak High is sort of the same as Sex Education, so has the same similarities and everything, but it's about this guy and he sort of he becomes a like sex therapist sort of thing. So he talks to people who have sexual problems. I don't know, that's all I'm gonna say, but it's a really good show and 100% highly recommend. And it's English as well, the show, but it's a really good show to like binge watch and everything, so 100% recommend. Okay, the last one in comedy is Rick and Morty. So this is completely different than all the shows that I just named in comedy. Rick and Morty is an animation show, and it's about like this guy and his grandsons. They go on like different adventure and stuff because his grandfather is a scientist, but the funny part is he's always drunk. But it's really funny, like 100% highly recommend. You guys probably already know this show anyway because I feel like a lot of people know this show. So yeah, it's a fun show to binge watch if you don't know what else to watch and you feel like watching a kiddie but not so kiddie show animation. So now we're moving on to drama. So the first one in drama is Stranger Things. So Stranger Things is like my all-time favorite show. I swear it is so good. Like you have no idea how good the show is. It's like one of the best Netflix shows ever. So it's probably the most popular Netflix show ever. So like you guys probably already know this show already, but if you don't, it's about this girl, she has superpowers, and this show is like set in the 80s, which is my favorite era. So she meets these group of kids and they become friends, and if you've played Dungeons and Dragons, it's the same concept of Dungeons and Dragons. So it has 4 seasons out already, but the 5th season is coming out soon. So highly recommend Stranger Things if you have nothing to watch. It's a really good binge worthy movie that I highly recommend. The next one is called I Am Not Okay With This. So this show only has one season out at the moment. It's a really good show. Highly recommend. So it's about this girl and she has superpowers as well. It's just a good show if you're chilling at home and don't know what to watch. Like, watch this show because it's like a real fun show to watch. And yeah, the next show is Black Mirror. Now, most of you probably already know that what Black Mirror is. So every episode is a different episode. So completely different. And it's about like futuristic stuff like technology. How's it gonna like, sort of like, you know, it's not too far off this reality future of what we could have, sort of. But yeah, highly recommend if you're into like futuristic stuff. Okay, now the next one, obviously you guys probably all know this one because it got so popular when it first came out. So this is Squid Games, and it's a really good binge-worthy movie. There's only one season out at the moment, but there will be other seasons coming out very soon, so I highly recommend. So if you don't know what to watch Squid Games. It's really good. Okay, now the next one is called The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window. It's a really long title for a show, but it's a good show. So in this show, the girl, she sits and sort of like watches the neighbors, but like not creepily, and she witnessed a murderer in the neighbor's house. Please don't believe her, no one believes her, but it's a really good show. I recommend if you don't know what else to watch. It's a good show if you don't know what else to watch, and it will keep you entertained for a while. So yeah, highly recommend to watch the show. Okay, now we're moving on to documentaries. So the first one in documentaries is the Jeffrey Dahmer tapes. So if you're into true crime, I highly recommend the Jeffrey Dahmer tapes. It's a good documentary. Like it's about like you hear the recordings of Jeffrey Dahmer when he was admitting all of his like murders and everything, and it's just, if you're into true crime, then highly recommend watch this. Also in this documentary you hear the police's side as well, so like what the police have to deal with Jeffrey Dahmer's like murders and stuff. Okay, the next one is the John Wayne Gacy tapes, which is the same as Jeffrey Dahmer tapes. Like I said, you hear the tapes of John Wayne Gacy and you hear the story of him, like you get insight of what happened and everything. And yeah, it's the same as Jeffrey Dahmer, but so I highly recommend watch it if you're into true crime. Okay, the last documentary I have is the Top Secret UFO. I think that's what it's called. So if you're into like conspiracy theories, 100% you'll love this show. So it's about like aliens, it's about like people who were working in Area 51 and what they saw and all that stuff. So, and people of like alien sightings, and you get like into stuff like that, which I highly recommend this show. Now we're getting into sci-fi horror movies and TV shows. So this show is called Love, Death and Robots. So it's actually a really good show. Like every episode is different, but every episode is a different animation. So one could be like a different like animation, and then the other one is completely different, and the animation in like looks is also completely different. It's a really good show, and highly recommend if you don't know what else to watch. It's also like funny at times as well, like some episodes are funny. Yeah, so highly recommend to watch it if you don't know what else to watch. Okay, the next one is not a TV show, it's a movie, but it's a movie series. So they made 1, 2 and 3, and it's called Fear Street. And these movies were so good. Like the first one in my opinion was the best one, but the storyline of the movies were actually really good, and highly recommend to watch these. And it's especially because it's like in Halloween time, like 100% watch these for Halloween because they're really good. So this one is The Hauntings of Hill House. Now you guys probably already know the show. Yeah, it's about like obviously a house that's haunted, that people moved in. It's just like all that stuff, and there's a lot of like jump scares. If you're into that or not into that, just warning you, there's a lot of jump scares, but it's a really good show that I highly recommend if you're into like horror, you know, like actually horror, like scary stuff, then highly recommend to watch the show. The next one is The Hauntings of Bly Manor. Now this is the same as The Hauntings of Hill House, like it has the same cast and everything, so the same makers, but like it's the same but like different. So obviously like Bly Manor, Hill House, like completely different, but the same concept of like hauntings, jump scares as well. well. And yeah, so if you like Hill House, you'll like Bly Manor if you haven't watched it, or watched one and haven't watched the other. The next one is a movie, not TV show, and it's called Nightbook. Now this came out last year in October time, sort of for Halloween, and it's about a witch, but it's a really good show. Highly recommend this, well, not show, this movie, highly recommend. So it's sort of like it could be like a kids movie, but it's not, because stuff happens that kids shouldn't see. But it's a really good movie, and I highly recommend, especially because it's Halloween time. Like, watch it for Halloween. So highly recommend this movie. Okay, now we're moving on to crime. So in crimes, I have the Jeffrey Dahmer series, and you guys probably already seen this because it came out recently, but like really good show. So highly recommend. You see the like what happens in Jeffrey Dahmer's life. You see him growing up and how he thought and stuff like that. Go into like his insight of like life and everything. It's a really good show, but if you're sensitive about like murders and everything, like don't watch it. But other than that, you should watch it. Like, it's a good show. I like it. Now the last one is Ted Bundy. Now this is the movie, not TV show, because they didn't, not the TV show because they didn't come out with the TV show, so it's just the movie Ted Bundy, and it's a really good movie. It's sort of like Jeffrey Dahmer, like you get into his insight of like living and what he thought and everything. Yeah, so Zac Efron plays Ted Bundy, and it's just a good show if you like true crime and everything. Show, I meant movie. So watch this movie if you have nothing else to watch, because it's fun. That is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a comment down below saying what movie you picked out of this video or TV show, and I will read them. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new here, and like this video if you haven't already. I post every Mondays and Fridays, so yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.